The following is a presentation of RMG Sports, award-winning championship television.
Race fans, get ready for Chase to the Checkered. We don't have time to mess around this week. With 8 feature races on tap at Jennerstown Speedway, there was sure to be some action. We had all sizes of race cars, small, medium, and large. But the excitement only came in extra large. So quit bugging us. Chase to the Checkered starts now.
Hi, I'm Kristen Dieselman from Checkered, PA. Race fans, start your engines.
Race fans, welcome back to Chase to the Checkered. If you weren't in the crowd at Jennerstown Speedway last Saturday, you missed a simply spectacular night of racing. As the sun set on a hot and humid day, it was time to race. Jennerstown Speedway featured 7 divisions of racing and 8 feature races, starting off with a special feature, Super Mini Cup cars. These cars are 1/2 scale, but they can provide just as much excitement as the big boys. 3 wide going into a turn is nothing to these guys. The Pennsylvania Mini Cup Series is part of the Scale Racing League, which sanctions both local and national events. Ken Stabley Jr. in the number 34 race car graphics car shot out to the lead and never looked back. While number 02, Kevin Moore, tried to catch up, Stabley would win and earn a trip to victory lane.
Oh, you really have to pay attention going into these corners, especially on a hot night like tonight. I mean, it's greasy in there. I mean, you just take and dive right down in there a little bit, and you can just feel the back end just sort of swishing a little bit. It keeps you on your toes the whole time.
Stabley and Moore were followed by Ron Robbins Jr., Mark Weeks, and Dave Smith in the top 5. If you enjoyed the action of Mini Cup racing, they will be returning to Jennerstown Speedway 3 times this year. Stay tuned to Chase to the Checkered, and we'll let you know when they're coming. We've got a lot more racing to cover, so let's get back to it with the first of 2 50-lap features of the Wheeler Brothers AC Delco late models. Murraysville's Tommy Beck in the number 91 car had the pole and shot out to an early lead with number 45 Rick Boyer, number 25 Rick Miller, number 11 Bobby Henry, and number 92 Jamie Bolkovac in tow. As Beck moved ahead with the lead, Rick Miller was in a tight battle with Rick Boyer for second. After Miller slips by, number 11 Bobby Henry says, "It's my turn." Gets a little loose in turn 4 and slides by on the inside. Jamie Bolkovac takes advantage of the situation and gets past Boyer. Henry and Bolkovac would go door to door for several laps, making the battle for 3rd position an exciting one. But lurking in the shadows of 5th place was the number 94 car of Mark Smith. He's come in second too many times this year. He had his sights on victory lane tonight, but there was some stiff competition at the front of the pack. Beck continued to lead, but Bobby Henry had broken free of Bolkovac, and Mark Smith had snuck by too. But Beck's lead would start to erode as the leaders approached lap traffic. This gave everyone, including number 25 Rick Miller and number 11 Bobby Henry, the opportunity to gain some ground. A few laps later, Bobby Henry's patience had run out. He says, "If you're not going to pass him, I will." Henry in the number 11 slides up alongside of Miller. These two would dance like this for several laps, until Henry would sneak way down on the inside and get past both Miller and the leader Beck. Miller would follow his line. Seconds later, so would Mark Smith, sending the leader back to fourth in the blink of an eye. It was lap 20, and Bobby Henry now had the lead, with Rick Miller in second. He had little time to celebrate, as the caution would fly a lap later, when number 38, Brad Creighton, and number 45, Rick Boyer, tangled between turns 1 and 2. Boyer's car was severely damaged and leaked fluid the whole way down pit road. Creighton remained on the track and in the race. As the Brooks Automotive Group pace car slipped into the pits, the pack was bunched back up for a restart. Bobby Henry took off with the lead, with number 25, Rick Miller, and number 94, Mark Smith following. A lap later, Smith would pull alongside of Miller on the backstretch and shoot by for second. One down, one more to pass for Smith. As Henry, Smith, and Miller made their way around, Mark Catone had moved up to fourth position, and he brought Tim Bainey Jr. with him. Bainey races in the USAR Hooters Pro Cup. How would he fare against our local late model drivers? Bainey would slip by Catone a few laps later, giving him fourth. Henry would stretch out his lead and the pack. But turns 1 and 2 would again claim Brad Creighton, whose spin would bring out the second caution. On the restart, number 94, Mark Smith, jumped out to the lead, but number 11, Bobby Henry, wasn't going down that easily. These two late model veterans would go door to door, fender to fender, for several laps, keeping the fans on the edge of their seat. The white flag flew, and Henry only had one more lap to pass Smith, but he would try too hard in turns 1 and 2, spinning on what would have been the final lap. This meant a single file, green-white checkered restart for the win. Mark Smith would keep the lead and go on to win the first of two 50-lap features of the Wheeler Brothers AC Delco late models.
What happened down there, I don't know. I mean, that's just racing. You're going to have them every now and then. I don't know if I took a little bit of his lane or if it slipped and he got into me, but whatever happened, I mean, Bobby's a good guy, and we'll race again side by side. I just want to thank God for a good, safe race. We had a dear friend that lost his life last night in Cumberland, so this is for him.
It was an emotional night for Mark Smith and everyone involved in motorsports, with Myersdale's Dwayne Schultz losing his life in a Friday night race in Cumberland, Maryland. Yet another reminder of how dangerous this sport truly is. It was a good race for Richter Motorsports, as their cars finished first and second. The visiting Tim Bainey Jr. rode the number 4 car into second, behind Smith. Barry Audi, Mark Catone, and Rick Miller finished in the top 5. Jamie Bolkovac, Neil Brown, Snooky Williams, Kerry Tadero, and Tommy Beck round out the top 10. That spin sent Bobby Henry from 2nd to 13th place. But this was the first of 2 late model features. How would he do in the second? Stay tuned to find out. We'll have that and all the action from all 5 divisions of racing coming up on Chase to the Checkered. Next up on Chase to the Checkered, the Sen West Street Stocks. Rockwood's Johnny Jones in the number 21 car took off to an early lead, but number 35, Bill Ashton, kept the pace, with number 14, Adam Kostelnik, right behind. In lap 3, Kostelnik almost loses it after he nudges Ashton, but he keeps it together. By lap 10, number 9, George Nicola Jr., had caught up to the leaders and joined in the fun. As the race approached the halfway point, number 14, Kostelnik, used the high side to get next to number 35, Ashton. When the leaders came down the front stretch, everyone traded some paint. Ashton, in the 35, would take advantage of the situation and shoot past. Later in the lap, Kostelnik would get by Jones, and number 9, George Nicola Jr., would follow. Ashton's lead would gradually evaporate, and in lap 18, mechanical problems would end his night. Kostelnik and Nicola slid by. A lap later, Nicola loses it between 3 and 4. Watch how close Johnny Jones comes to clipping the number 9 car. The Brooks Automotive Group pace car led the pack for a single file restart. Kostelnik would shoot out with the lead. On the last lap, Johnny Jones caught up to Kostelnik to challenge, but he would swing way too high in turn 4, and Kostelnik would win his second straight feature in the Sen West Street Stocks. He and Johnny Jones were followed by Roger Onstad, Richard Nicola, and the 07 car of Chris DeArmond. David Tavermina, George Nicola Jr., Robert Young, June Wyand, and Jason Holder round out the top 10. Here's the feature winner who came across the finish line without any power steering.
On that one restart, I must have revved it up a little bit too hard. I blew the belt off, and that's why I was struggling on the last 5 laps, just hogging the bottom. Seeing Johnny Jones come up and get me, come up on the outside, and I figure if he's going to beat me, he's going to beat me on the outside.
In the points, Pittsburgh's Richard Nicola's lead is trickling away. Adam Kostelnik, last year's Street Stock Division champ, is now within 4 points. George Nicola Jr., David Tavermina, and Roger Onstad round out the top 5 in the Sen West Street Stocks. Now, on to the Tommy Gale Hallmark Trailers Pro Trucks. On the start, Dave Brunel took the lead, while number 69, Dave Merrow, number 12, Aaron Will, number 20, Josh Kokenauer, and number 8, Marion Reno Jr. fought door-to-door for position. A lap into the race, 69, Dave Merrow, came up on the inside of Zero. As they came out of turn 4, 0 and 69 rattle fenders, and Merrow gets loose while the pack whizzes by. On lap 7, the pack goes 3 wide on the front stretch, then 4 wide into the turn. There's just not enough room for that, and Aaron Will paid the price. On the restart, Kokenauer rocketed out to the lead. This left Brunel and number 8, Reno Jr., to fight for second. After a caution, 20 kept the lead, while Reno Jr. made his move to pass Brunel on the back stretch. Soon, Reno Jr. caught up to Kokenauer, and the two rode side by side, but 20 kept coming out on top. Kokenauer and Reno Jr. were coming up on the final lap, and they were still side by side, but turns 1 and 2 would claim Reno Jr., just as they claimed Bobby Henry earlier in the first late model feature. This would give the fans at Jennerstown Speedway the second green-white checkered finish of the night. But Kokenauer got out in front and didn't look back as he won the Tommy Gale Hallmark Trailers Pro Truck feature. Dave Brunel would come in second behind Somerset's Josh Kokenauer. Dave Merrow in the number 69 truck was third. Number 96, Todd Price, was fourth. The rookie number 02, Joe Kelly, rounds out the top 5 finishers.
Everybody's fast in this, especially Reno, but if we ran our race, we'd be fine. Just hats off to the guys that helped me. They're one in a million.
The win, his first at Jennerstown in 2002, brings Kokenauer closer to the division points leader, Alum Banks' Todd Price. Marion Reno Jr. is second, followed by Kokenauer, Dave Brunel, and Altoona's Aaron Will in fifth. Now, let's move to the 96.5 Mountain Charger feature. As the back of the pack went 3 wide into 1 at the start, Greg Praisner in the number 27 and rookie Dwayne Knoll in the number 22 shot out in front. While the leaders stretched the field out, current points champ number 55, Curtis Stewart Jr., was chipping away at their lead. By lap 13, Stewart had caught up to the second place car of number 97, Justin Lasky. He goes down low and passes him on the backstretch for second, but there were only 2 laps left. Could he get to the front? As they came out of turn 4 to start the final lap, the leaders came into lap traffic. Praisner goes low while Stewart goes high. Stewart rockets to the front. He would win the 96.5 Mountain Charger feature.
Every time you go out there, I mean, the cars are just getting faster and faster, and the competitors are getting better and better every week. And then last Friday, I tore the car up, and I wasn't sure if it was going to work the same as it was, prior to this. But I'm just thankful that it did.
Level Green PA's Greg Praisner led every lap but the one that counts and took home second place. Justin Lasky, Phil Grubbs, and the number 7 car of Chuck Slate round out the top 5 finishers. North Huntington's Curtis Stewart Jr. holds on to his lead in the points, with Stallstown's Phil Grubbs just 24 points behind in second. Travis Smith, Chuck Slate, and Justin Lasky round out the top 5 in points in the 96.5 Mountain Charger division. Coming up on Chase to the Checkered, We still have the action from the Cover Insurance Agency PA Legacy feature. And how would Bobby Henry and the rest of the late model drivers fare in the second 50-lap feature of the Wheeler Brothers AC Delco late models? Plus, what's coming up tonight and in the upcoming weeks at Jennerstown Speedway? Stay where you are. We'll be back to tell you on Chase to the Checkered right after this. Welcome back to Chase to the Checkered. Now, let's keep the action rolling with the Cover Insurance Agency PA Legacy feature. Number 59, Kyle Martell, shot out to an early lead with number 13, Chris Brink, following in second. By the fourth lap, Joey Denowitz had worked his way up from his 6th place starting position to come door to door with number 13, Brink. Denowitz and Brink would go door to door for 4 more laps until the leader, Martell, would slow up. Brink got hung up behind him, and Denowitz shot out to the lead. Number 4, Brett Boyer, followed him by. On lap 17, Kyle Martell would again slow the pack down, just what Denowitz did not need. The single file restart saw the field pick up right where they left off, with Joey Denowitz in the lead, in front of number 4, Brett Boyer, and number 13, Chris Brink. Jennerstown Speedway's streak of last lap bad luck would continue when Brett Boyer got loose in turns 3 and 4. When he came down the front stretch, he and Chris Brink swapped paint, sending him spinning. Here's the replay. It would be the 3rd green-white checkered finish of the night at Jennerstown. This gave Chris Brink the opportunity to catch up to Denowitz, but the number 29 car stayed in front, and Joey Denowitz won his 5th straight feature in the Cover Insurance Agency PA Legacy Division.
My guys kept preaching to me, patience, it's gonna break, the traffic's gonna break, just hang on to it just a little bit further. And I tell you what, there was a lot of times where I just wanted to back out, make another run at him.
Denowitz was followed by Chris Brink, David Holder, David Campbell, and the rookie Brett Boyer in the top 5. Denowitz remains at the top of the point standings, with Chris Brink and Brett Boyer in a tie for second, only 24 points away. Next up, the second 50-lap feature of the Wheeler Brothers AC Delco late models. Race 2 started like Race 1 with number 91, Tommy Beck, taking an early lead with number 98, Neil Brown, and number 14, Kerry Tadero following. Beck held the late model champ at bay for 11 laps. Then the veteran Brown used the proverbial bump and run move out of turn 4 and snuck beneath Beck for the lead. Barry Audi followed underneath for second. Neil Brown was out in front, and everyone knows that when the silver bullet is out in front, he's awfully tough to catch. In the final lap, the night's Jennerstown jinx took hold once again when Bobby Trumbauer got into the wall in turn 1, bringing out the caution and tearing up the decorations. Yet another sign for Steve Pellis to replace. Neil Brown was in front, followed by 75 Barry Audi, 94 Mark Smith, 4 Tim Bainey Jr., and number 11 Bobby Henry. This would make the 4th race of the night that would have a green-white checkered finish. When the green flew, Brown took off with the lead. As they went into the back stretch, Bobby Henry in the 11 was looking to challenge Tim Bainey Jr., but Mark Catone was looking to get by Henry. They would all line back up and follow Neil Brown across the finish line in the second feature of the Wheeler Brothers AC Delco late models. It was Brown, followed by Audi, Smith, Tim Bainey Jr., and Bobby Henry. Mark Catone came in 6th, followed by Tommy Beck, who fought a hard battle all night long. Jamie Bolkovac, Brad Creighton, and Snooky Williams round out the top 10 finishers. Rookie Dusty Rhodes finished a very respectable 12th in both late model features. Neil Brown had to use his backup car, but he was still able to make it to victory lane.
Well, I want to give a lot of credit to my crew. We showed up here with our Jennerstown car, our primary car, and in heat race we spun a spool in the rear end. We had to go to our backup car and had a little bit of trouble with it the first feature and made a few changes. Still wasn't right, but they did a great job.
With the 2 late model races in the books, Neil Brown holds on to his lead in the Wheeler Brothers AC Delco late model division point standings. He's followed by the usual suspects of Barry Audi, Mark Smith, Mark Catone, and Jamie Bolkovac in the top 5. The night was wrapped up with the men's enduro feature that saw number 88, Gregory Lohr of Hooversville, take the lead and go on to win.
You got to get going on the front or else the leaders will get away from you. And I seem to get through things pretty good at the beginning here.
Coming up tonight at Jennerstown Speedway, it's Fan Appreciation Night as First Commonwealth Financial presents 5 division racing plus ladies enduro. Admission is just $5. Then, coming up next week, Dodge and Arzenberger Trucking present CDL Night. There will be 5 divisions racing with twin 25-lap street stock features, plus men's enduro and fireworks. Present your CDL license and receive half off admission. Then, in 2 weeks, it's the ASA Pennsylvania 300. Reserved seats are just $25. General admission is just $20. Don't miss a second of the action. I'm Bubba Connor. That's it for this week's Chase to the Checkered. We'll be back next week at a special time, 3:30 p.m. on this station. We'll see you then.